husband has spent a lot of time at the school gates telling people it's not based on us. It's definitely not based on us.
Welcome to Where Writers Write, the show that takes you to the creative spaces of your favourite writers. Today we're speaking to Asia Mackay, who is an author, a screenwriter and brilliant creative powerhouse. She started life studying anthropology at Durham University.
I did not know that.
Do you know what the study of anthropology is?
Absolutely no idea.
No, I didn't either.
I want to say it's like insects.
No, it's not insects. She studied insects and then became a writer. No, it's the study of human behaviour and psychology.
Oh, that's so much cooler than an insect.
But haven't we? I've got deadlines. Do you set ones for yourself? Do you love or loathe them?
I'm very good on deadlines. When I wrote that book in 3 months, I think the only way I was able to do it was I was really militant, and I had in my calendar, my Google Calendar, a word target at the end of each week. And yeah, I know, I was properly geeky about it. And so I knew that I had to hit those targets. And then there were a few I did miss. So then I would have to rejig the whole thing to make sure I could still finish by. For me, it's because I suppose I work best obviously during term time. Yeah. And I remember I needed to have this draft finished before the start of the summer holidays.
It's good. That is quite type A personality in writing. But I think that's kind of the only way you can get it done, right?
Yeah.
And do you think you'll stay in this world of like people killing each other and domestic settings?
You know what? I would love to write a romantic comedy, but I don't yet have the confidence, I think, to write something that doesn't involve someone dying. Because it's such an easy way to make it dramatic and exciting and rushing on. And I think, so no, one day I definitely do want to write one, but I need to come up with characters that I really love and believe in and their journey enough that I won't accidentally have a car crash and like a terrible mugging that ends.
Maybe you could do a rom-com that's sort of like gory and brutal.
I like this, maybe.
And that could be quite fun.
A dark rom-com.
We need more of those, I think.
Rom-com thriller.
I could see that. And then are you approaching screenwriting in the same way as your books, in the sense that you're not like meticulously planning it or plotting it?
Yes, so it's funny actually. So I've got 3 scripts in development now, which is exciting because, the more you have out there, the more chance of something getting on the telly. And they were all things again. I didn't actually plot at all. Again, they started with an image, and then I just wrote the pilot because I find writing a pilot easier than an outline. Which I'm finding, I didn't realise how weird it was until now. The one I've got, I'm meant to be writing episode 2 for it, and everyone on our team is like talking about, great, we've got to kind of do beat sheets and talk it through and plan this and plan that. And I'm like, I'm just going to write the episode, and then you can make a beat sheet from that, because I can't actually do it the other way around, because I don't have any ideas when I'm looking at a blank page unless I start writing it and the characters are talking to each other, and then I get back into that rhythm and I'm like, okay, now I know what needs to happen. Or visually I'm like, oh, that's been a really boring scene in there, so now they need to go out and do something somewhere else.
Yeah.
So
and when you have those characters, are you basing them on people? Are you hearing them talk to you? How does it sort of come to you?
Yes, it just depends what the idea is. Like if it's led by an image, then I can kind of make that character how I want. Or if I'm picturing someone saying something in a funny way, I'm like, right, that's their character there.
Right, you're not like basing it on actors or or people you know.
No, I haven't at all.
Yeah, apart from David
and Georgie.
Serials guy.
Sure. Apart from that's your observational bits you put in.
Yes.
Where you're like, you can't. You
never hear them really speak. It's just like a kind of like.
We're too busy making out.
Yeah, exactly.
But so it's the characters just kind of come to you from an image, and then you kind of flesh them out from there.
I mean, everything I write tends to be female-led dramas or thrillers with a touch of comedy. I try and be funny because life is serious enough. But that is my kind of basic remit for everything I write.
And is that like what you enjoy watching as well?
Yeah, I find women more interesting. So I think I'm more likely to watch something female-led. I'm more likely to read female authors. I mean, you notice a pattern.
Of course.
And I guess that affects what you write, I suppose.
Yeah, it becomes more
And also
relatable.
I probably feel more confident writing as a woman, which is quite natural being one.
Yeah.
Because I kind of feel I have plenty to say on it, and so that's why I channel that into these characters.
Yeah. Do you find it quite cathartic sometimes, like writing A Serial Killer's Guide to Marriage? Were you able to get out all your marriage woes, but like the frustrations of being a mother?
Definitely.
I felt there was a lot of you in the fact she's an artist.
Completely.
And she can't do her art,
it's
but she
all
can't
of
do the
that.
things
It is.
she
I'm
loves.
not, I'm not a good enough writer to be completely disconnected
Of course.
from my life. But my husband has spent a lot of time at the school gates telling people it's not based on us. It's definitely not based on us. But other than that, I do. You can't help but slip little bits of you in there. But it's like I always say that, there's some of it's me, some of it's my friend, some of it's totally made up, and I'll never say which is which. So you can never really work it out.
That's a nice way out of it.
Yeah.
Going completely off point, you used to present TV programs in Shanghai.
I can't believe, yes.
Genuinely thought that was a lie. I was like, no, there's no way. I mean, she hates cameras.
I know,
I do
she
hate
presented
cameras.
shows with chefs
that's
on.
why I did it in China, when no one can ever dig out the footage. So.
Oh, well, it's funny you should say that. And then you went on to work on Motorcycle Diaries.
Yes, which again, I signed up for thinking, being in production.
Yeah.
Were
you like a runner, or were you sort of
I started out on reception and was told I'd be there for 2 weeks.
Okay.
And then I just never left. And I think when I did eventually leave a few years later, I was project manager dealing with all the kind of logistical side. I did sponsorship, a bit of press, charity, because they were run as expeditions, not just kind of TV shows. But it was a lot of fun. But yes, it was very much learning on the job. It started me off realising you can just about wing anything. That's exactly it. You just
blag it.
Blag it, honestly.
Yeah, everyone's blagging.
Everyone's blagging.
Yeah,
and
true.
it was great actually, because it was quite a young company, and people they kind of just hired us because they were like, yeah, you seem cool, and like, you seem capable.
Yeah.
And because we didn't have, you remember at Psycho TV, we didn't have proper contracts, so we were all told, you'll be here for a week. Oh no, you come back next week. So it was like you never knew how long you were going to be there for. So you try really hard because you were like, I don't want to go.
Yeah.
And that worked really well because you were always doing your best. I felt proud to have lasted as long as I did there.
Yeah, and great to have done that before, which is such an insular job.
And I signed up not knowing that they would then be filming all the crew doing our blah. There's a lot of entertainment from the fact I'm visible on screen wearing headbands and typing in on my geeky keyboard, talking a lot about visas like a massive geek.
You're gonna have to dig that out.
I'm gonna have to look up Shanghai.
It's on Apple now. The long way down is the one where I'm actually having to talk.
Oh my god, that's amazing.
They said and I remember saying to the editor, I was like, why am I in it so much in the first episode? She was like, it's really funny because you hate being on screen so much. You're really succinct. So actually, you're great because you sum up what's happening in a really fast way because you just want me to get away from you. You want the camera off you.
That is so funny. That's so typical. It's a very contrasting job to what you ended up doing, which is like, not on. Well, you have to. That's the weird thing, I suppose, about being an author is that you start out and you're like, it's just me and my characters and my world, and then it's published and you have to go and speak about it a lot.
It's like. This is the irony. I started writing. I'd always loved writing, but I started trying to do it because I thought it's a great thing to do with kids because you can just be with your laptop anywhere, and it had this whole dreamy idea of like just tapping away, darling, great, I never factored in deadlines and how brutal they can be, and how my kids are used to, if I'm on a deadline, I am a monster, and I just have to kind of lock myself away and get it over with. And again, I never factored in. I thought it was just hanging out in your kitchen in your dressing gown, writing stuff and then sending it out. And I did not factor in the whole having to like wander around talking about it all the time.
Yeah, public speaking element.
Yeah, and the literary festivals and all of that. Which I obviously love. So I'm really delighted.
Is there something that you did doing your first draft that you would advise not to do, other people, aspiring writers? Like, do you think it would have been better if you had planned it more?
No, I think one thing is that whole phrase of kill your darlings that everyone talks about. Which and I remember when I started the Faber course and I already had like a whole chunk of words, and it was once I started understanding about structure and how things are meant to go, I realized I had to cut them all, and I was just like, but what? There's like, 10,000 words here. How could I I kept some of them, but But it was more just, and I've realised the way around that, and I still do this in everything I do. If I'm cutting something that I know doesn't belong in the book or the script, I have a separate document called extra. And I copy and paste it onto that. So it's not dead. It's there if I ever want to use it again. And find a way to use it. It's just if you've put in a particularly good line, or you're like, I'm quite proud of that. So and so it's not dead. It's another document. And then I know, and that's helped me. But the thing is, what's hilarious is I know I've then never opened that again.
It's like,
but like psychologically, I'm like, it's there. It
still lives. It's not. My darling is not killed.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, my file is called cut-offs. I have exactly the same. Yeah, you're like, that would be a kill. How can I get rid of that killer line? Yeah, and then it doesn't die forever.
You see, we all struggle with it.
I think it's true.
When you think of the wasted time. And I think that's what I found the hardest about moving from in TV in a very practical job where I did my spreadsheets and I knew how long things would take. What I absolutely hate about writing is you never know how long something's going to take.
Yeah.
You could sit down one day and write like 3 sentences and that's it. And then you could sit down another day and write an amazing 2,000 words in an hour. Not an hour maybe, but but it's like a whole thing where you just can't factor it in. So it's quite hard to predict.
Go through, there's a cycle, but there's just phases, isn't there, with writing, where sometimes you're just like, I just have to give up today.
Yeah, I think that's the really healthy. Do you do that though?
Yes.
You're
I only since kids would push it, but with kids I'm like, so much else to do.
If it's really bad, right, I should just know. I've wasted days before where it's going really badly and I've still stayed at my desk trying, and then at the end of the days come and I've still not done anything, but I haven't done anything fun either. Whereas I should just walk away and go read a book or, hug a child. Or
No, I get it. You want to sort of push it, but I think it's also, there's only like a finite amount of energy you have in a day, right? And so Georgia didn't know you did anthropology as well. We both didn't know.
So much.
We didn't know anthropology was.
Please don't make me explain it.
It's not the study of insects. It's the study of human behaviour.
Yeah, it's basically human behaviour.
She did Google it. She didn't know that naturally. Don't think that was
I didn't know that naturally, obviously.
It helped me understand people. You can say things like from an anthropological view. Which I have never used.
That's where that comes from.
Yeah.
That's why people say that.
Oh, I get it. We're like, why are people so into insects?
So they insect behaviour. It's probably quite interesting.
Yeah, I'm sure. Has it affected your writing, do you think? Do you ever go back to it? No, not in the slightest.
I think that was a degree for the sake of a degree, to be really blunt, in terms of, it might have helped me get my job working for Long Way Round, in that I have no idea. In that I think at the time anthropology degrees were quite trendy for documentary companies because it looked like you wanted to know about the world. And But I have no idea. I wouldn't say it has impacted my life other than it gave me an excuse to have fun at university for a few years.
Great.
And that was pretty much it.
And that probably affected your writing.
Maybe you're right.
Like maybe that's, where you killed some people.
I killed some people.
Yeah, that's where I did all my studying for that. Yeah. And did you what's the best piece of writing advice you've ever received?
Oh God, it's so boring, but it's just right.
It's
such an easy
it's a classic
one,
though.
It's a classic. It's just
a classic.
The whole you can't edit an empty page, just right. But and also because when I was starting my whole writing journey, there was also this National Novel Writing Month where the whole theory was, in November you could write a whole book if you really wanted to. I think they call it a rough first draft of about 50,000 words, 60,000 words, I think. But the whole ethos, I wasn't about to write a book in a month, considering the fact I had young children. But I liked the ethos, which was no plot, no problem, and just right. And I found that is what gave me the courage to start, because it does sound intimidating when you go, I've got to write a whole book. No way. Whereas if you're like, I've got a character I like, I'm just going to write and see what happens, and eventually I'll have to do something, and something will happen to other people, and I don't know.
And that is amazing that that's how your plots develop.
Yeah, it was such a left field thing. Like when we met, I had no George and I's origin story, which is so beautiful.
Yes.
We did this version of, we're going to have to redo it, so maybe you should just tell the origin story. We'll see if they match the origin stories.
Tell us the origin story.
Really lovely. We met literally with our boobs out. We were sat in Maggie and Rose in Chiswick, and we had 2 children the same age, didn't we? So the girls were off playing, and we were feeding our babies just alongside each other. And after a while, it gets a bit awkward because you're like, we're both here with our baby. We've both got our boob. I feel like we kind of need to fill silence of. And so And so we got talking.
That
And
is
you know,
lovely.
the chemistry was there, wasn't it, Georgia?
It was, yeah. We put a couple of weeks in, didn't we? Before
We did. And
Of like-
then it was really lovely one day because she left me her number. And I was like,
Oh, did you put a note or just your number?
on a note, yeah.
Put a little note.
Well, I'd love
She
to
went
see
to
you
the loo,
again.
Yeah.
note with a coffee, and then I ran away, obviously, in case I got rejected.
Gosh,
It was
good
just-
job
it
that
was
you
like-
liked her though, because it could be terrifying.
Yeah.
It could be like
To put yourself out like
I
that.
know.
Yeah.
I hadn't had to do
I've
that
seen
for quite a
your
long
notes
time.
Yeah,
Yeah, we've been quite intimate already, haven't we? So I suppose.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We kind of skipped the first date stage.
Yeah.
Having already seen each other naked.
Yeah.
It's a natural progression.
But, you know, that's an example. But, you know, you're more than a mum friend. But that's how it
Yeah.
started because we were like, fucking hell, this is exhausting. And that was it.
We were
But
able
I
to get
remember the text that you sent me going, I forgot what this idea for a book. And then you'd obviously written a kind of thing on your phone, on your notes.
Yeah, yes.
And you went, what do you think? You sent it across. And I was like, yeah, that sounds like a really good book. I think I'm going to write it.
Oh wow! And that was killing it.
That was killing it.
Oh,
And that
great
was
title
because that
as
was
well.
only my second baby I met George on, and this was my third that I started writing.
Oh my
It was
gosh.
all quite weirdly in sync though, because I got my book deal the day before my fourth was born. Like
Oh,
literally, as in the
wow.
contract came in, the approved, agreed deal came in the day before, and I was like, synergy.
Yeah.
Here we are.
And now you can release.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
That is. But it's so funny because so often people have written before, then had kids, and then it's like, okay, how have kids affected your writing? But in this case, kids
I
were the
didn't write
inspiration.
before I had it, because I think, but it's like that whole, I didn't have anything to say, I didn't know what to write about, and I felt so like, I don't know, I think it was what kept me sane. Obviously, I look back and how my eldest was 5 when my fourth was born, and I just can't actually comprehend the level of I don't understand, like, what was I thinking, first of all, but second of all, no wonder I needed an escape. Like I look back on photos of that time and I'm like, of when I think I had, maybe before the fourth was born, I felt calmer by the time I had number 4. It was when I had 3 under 3.5 that was really tough. And I remember looking back at photos going, why do I look so awful? And why is the house such a mess? And why are the children all naked? And I'm like, oh yeah, because it was hell. It was absolute hell.
So the writing was like this perfect escape
It
in
was
your
like a
head
weird
and physically.
escape. Yeah. And I think that's what I keep using writing as. It's like a nice escape. Like I just kind of, and also it becomes this whole thing, which I may have written about. It's like something for you. I think anything for you when you're drowning in children is really important to kind of stay sane. And it became my way of doing, this is like one thing for me and it makes me feel better. And I feel good about myself because people seem to like it.
Yeah, it's perfect.
So you kind of click and you're like, right, this is it now. I will continue to torture myself tied to my laptop for my foreseeable future.
But you actually enjoy the process of writing as opposed to just like, because often writers don't like the actual writing.
What, do you like the actual?
I like the moments of flow.
Yes, but that's the same, isn't it? We all love it when it flows. It's not, we're like, what are we doing? This is miserable.
Yeah, it's like you like flow in anything, right? Like if I don't like running at all really, but people speak of runner's high where you're suddenly just like, I'm not running.
No, I am randomly a runner, which
Oh,
is
okay, so you know
very
this.
against my personality, having never exercised ever, but I hit a desperation level of, it was a combination of wanting to get in shape after my third and then also wanting a valid excuse to get away from your kids.
Oh yeah, that is
Whereas
a great one.
it's like, I think this is actually in Serial Killer, I'm like, if you say to your partner, I just want to go lie down in an empty room and scroll on my phone for half an hour and like eat a couple of biscuits, and you've got to deal with the kids. They'd be like, well, that's just a bit selfish.
Yeah, it's not happening.
What the hell?
Yeah.
Whereas if you go, I've got to go for a run, they're like, oh yeah, fair enough. Like mental health,
Yes.
physical health, that's very important for you. So that was literally, I was like, no one's having a go at me for going for a run.
Yes, you do need that separation.
Yeah.
And so it's
But
the
then
same.
the running actually happened for me because it helped me with plot things. I would be running, listening to blaring music, and I'm like, oh, that doesn't work. How does it work? And sometimes inspiration would hit. So I think it fueled my getting into running, was like it can actually help my writing as well.
Yeah, that makes
Mind
a lot of
and
sense.
body.
Mind and body, you're all together. It's so holistic. I love this. Is there a yoga mat somewhere here?
Yeah. No, I don't do yoga. I don't understand the point of that.
Okay, good. Okay, good. But that's the same thing, isn't it? The runner's high to the creative flow. Like when you go like this and you look
You're
up and
like,
4 hours have passed.
You're like, oh,
it's a wonderful feeling.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the process I enjoy.
Is there an equivalent in acting? There's there's
When you get the schedule and you're not actually in as much as you thought you were, and you realise you've got some days off. That's
just your equivalent.
Is it? Oh, it's just me.
Well,
yeah.
you guys, with your triple threat, you do everything. Writing, acting, producing, directing.
Between the two of us,
It is everything.
You
it is
are
everything.
one
yeah.
big threat,
Yeah.
yeah.
We just need a singer. Can you sing?
No.
Okay.
I mean, the fact I even write is weird because I don't feel like I'm a naturally creative person. Like I don't like, you know, it's very weird because I always thought of myself as spreadsheety, organised geek.
You're very observant though.
Thanks, Georgia.
As a person, I think that's your sort of magic, is that you sort of see everything.
Yes,
And it often means
yeah.
that you're not speaking.
Yeah. Yes.
So you don't necessarily think that you've seen everything.
Yes, that is true.
But then you
That
read
is
it
true.
in a book a year and a half later and you're like, oh, she did notice it. There
So
it is.
you've noticed things in her book.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Oh, okay.
There are definitely people
everyone
we
has.
know that are in those books.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I enjoy that. I really enjoy people. I mean, I don't like most people, but I
Yeah.
do enjoy observing people. And
Yeah.
but I really like working out how people tick. And I think
Yeah.
that's what I find really interesting.
And also your humour comes across in your books as too.
Thanks.
You're just funny, Asia. You're great.
I think, as I
It's
always tell
good.
everyone, don't get your hopes up about me in person. I'm only funny when I have a really long time to think about it,
Right.
edit, and then it can be something witty. If I'm like on the cuff, no, sorry.
Not
Don't be excited about sitting next to me at dinner. I'll mostly be really tired. And talk too
Pudding or
much.
something amusing.
Or my
Tad a bit.
favourite is I riff off people. So if you've got good energy and you're entertaining,
Oh, it's all their fault.
funny. Yeah. So if I'm shit and you
that's-
find me dull, that's on you.
That is such a great excuse. It's
But I'm a
very
big
true.
believer in like friendship chemistry. Like honestly, like,
Oh,
I know people
massively.
talk about romantic chemistry, yawn, but
Yeah.
there are certain people who make you feel better, and you do
Yes.
like feel you're enriching me, and I'm feeling buoyed. There are others who you're like, oh,
So, ideal writing space without dogs, without kids, without anything. Like, what's your? Or is it with all of those things?
it's not.
No
It's
offense
just
to your kids or
anywhere-
dogs.
It's it's like funny because so many people talk about a beautiful setting. I literally, as long as it's quiet and there are snacks.
I literally had a friend who used to work just in front of a white wall, like his desk was like there, and he was like, I just can't look at anything.
Really? But
Because you
actually,
just
I
need
had
to-
the most amazingly productive. We flew out to San Francisco last year, and it was I can't remember however many hours that flight is long.
11 hours.
It's 11 hours. Thank you,
Wow,
Georgia.
you're very welcome.
It was 11 hours, and I worked solidly the whole. Like it was amazing.
The whole flight?
Whole flight. I felt
With kids? No.
with kids, but they're plugged in. They don't care.
Oh, because they can like
No,
sit through a film.
Exactly. They literally just I can't remember what the jet lag scenario was, but I think we'd worked out it was good for them.
Right. Great.
Maybe not their eyes, but good for
Yeah.
them, for their body clock to just stay up. So they were just plugged in. No one bothered me, and I had no emails, no WhatsApps, no messages, anything. And also I was very motivated because it was to hand in the draft of my new book, and I was like, if I don't finish it on the plane, I'm going to have it hanging over me for the 10 days of holiday.
And that wasn't even
Clearly,
an edit. That was just finishing a chapter.
That was
chapters off.
a first draft, finishing a first draft.
That's amazing. And this is the sequel to A Serial Killer's Guide to
Self-help for serial killers. Yeah,
Is that what it's called?
that is what it's called. Yes, that is called.
That is what it's called.
Yeah, that is what it's called. There were a few bounced around, but that's what they've settled on.
That is very clever. And are you?
Well, unless they're
You've
going to
got
read
her-
it.
I mean, I haven't even asked because I just presumed.
Yeah, she better.
Yeah, it'd be so
Yeah,
Especially now,
sorry.
if you're just like, no, I won't be doing
I'm
that
so
again.
sorry.
Yeah, no, I've done
I
that.
Georgie will
not be returning.
We have an exciting new actress.
Contract negotiations did not go well, so we have a place.
That's why I'm not making eye contact with her at the moment.